Alright, how's it everybody? This is Kāʻili with ʻUkulele Nerd, and I'm just gonna do this video real quick. This is a recap video for one of my students, whose name I'll keep anonymous, but yeah, so our video call did not go so well. It was a little spotty, so this was a couple weeks ago, so basically I'm just gonna kind of go over all the things that I showed her, and I figured I put this on YouTube because somebody will probably be able to use this too. So here we go. So the first thing we talked about was positioning, just as a general. And this is my ukulele, by the way. I'm proud of her. Call her Pi'ilani. I made this myself at a class. So anyway, I'm gonna hold this correctly, quote unquote correctly. You're gonna notice with a lot of this stuff that it's just generally my advice based on what I've seen and other people that I've taught, and what I've seen when I watch professionals play, like the best players play, like is Jake, Troy Fernandez, Peter Moon, all those people. So basically, when you're first starting off, there's two ways I teach people how to hold it. First of all, take your hand that's on the body side, your strumming hand. I want you to grab with these three fingers right over the neck, where the neck meets the body. So it basically looks like this. And then put it across your body. And I usually say put the puka over your piko. Piko is the Hawaiian word for your belly button, and puka is the word for a hole. So you don't really want to go down there all the way. Maybe more towards your chest, whatever's comfortable for you. The idea is that your arm at rest will pin the ukulele to your body using your forearm. Alright, so wherever it lands, you want to put it right here on the edge below the bridge. You don't want to go too high up here or too low when you're standing. Alright, so you want to hold it just kind of like that, and your arm should naturally pin it to your body, just the weight of it. You shouldn't want to think about squeezing or anything like that. It's just a natural, so if I don't hold it, it'll still be good. Next thing is lift up the neck about 30 to 45 degrees. A little trick. If you're holding it lower, you have to lift up the neck higher. If you're holding it higher, you don't have to lift it up as much because you're looking for space underneath the neck. Okay, so if you ever see guitar players down like this, it's because they're using more of their thumb a lot of the time, or that's why they use their thumb, because it's so low. If you come back up here, you don't really need your thumb. You have all this room underneath. All right. Next is your thumb placement in the back. So I'm going to go here. My thumb is usually going to be along the center line of the spine of the ukulele, of the neck back here. I just generally, especially for beginners, just kind of keep your thumb pointing up behind maybe the second to the third fret. You're going to slide it up and down like this. What you do not want is this, or anywhere behind the head. Okay, you want to be behind the neck. And I usually just generally start people off by putting their knuckle right close to the nut here underneath. Okay, so I'm not doing this or anything like that. It's just straight out, very neutral wrist here. Later on, you're going to be able to use your thumb as a pivot point, and you can kind of swing like this if you need to angle your finger more up. But if it's sideways like this, you're going to be able to do things a lot easier, like G7, the Kumuhula D7, we call it, like this. Okay, so that should help you guys a bunch. There's one more way to hold it without a strap, of course, and I don't recommend using straps as a beginner because it could become a crutch. But basically, put your arm a little bit higher here. This is only good for sitting because this part needs to be supported by your leg. All right. So if you're standing, don't do this because it's going to slide very easily. All right. So just right here, and you're good. All right. Next is strumming. I'm just going to do a C for strumming. All you're going to do is keep this position, and then you're going to want to lift up your hand. I'm basically using it kind of like a seesaw, and relaxing my hand and my wrist so that my fingers point down to the floor. Open up your fingers and bend just the pointer finger, usually at this joint, not the big joint, but mostly this one. Just relax, and then that angle that I got with my wrist gives me the perfect angle to just flick my fingers across the strings down. Okay, it's very simple. If you notice, I'm not really moving my arm up and down. You don't want to chop like this, like a lot of guitar players do, or even at your wrist. because this will make the ukulele unstable. You can see it moving as I do that, right? It'll make it harder to hold. So instead, just focus on relaxing your arm, keeping your wrists and your elbows relatively still, stationary, fixed, but loose and relaxed. And then just flick. That's all you want. So all I'm doing is angling my fingernail flat against the strings, like where the neck meets the body. I don't usually strum over the body. This damage was not from strumming. Just down here like this. That's all you're doing for a down strum. When you strum up, you just bring your finger back the other way. If you have a nail that's long enough, go ahead and use your fingernail. If you don't, just use the fleshy part. That's fine. Usually the emphasis is going to be on the down strum anyway, so don't worry about it sounding weird. So it's just going to sound like this. Again, I'm just strumming down and up, flicking my finger like that. This is all I'm doing. You don't need a lot of arm movement or anything like that. You just need to flick. It has more than enough volume. You can, dial back the power if you want to make it softer. Like, okay. And then later on, you can experiment by strumming more towards the bridge. Just remember that this is the softest part of the string. The more you go towards the bridge, the more hard tension it's going to feel like, and it's going to be harder to strum. It's also going to sound brighter. So like right here, produces different feel. All right. Next is strumming patterns. Now, all strumming patterns that are based on 4 beats per measure, or 4/4 timing, are based on one of 2 strumming basics. So the first one is the standard strum, very simple. Right? And then that's a very robotic down and up, very evenly spaced notes. And you're going to count that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And the other way is the swing strum. You're going to swing your up note. So what swing means is basically the up strum is going to be a little bit delayed. So it's going to sound more like this. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. Once you identify whether a song is standard or swing, then you're going to be able to listen closely and see which of those down and up strums they're either skipping over and letting it ring, muting, or doing some kind of technique like a scratch, like that. Okay? If you guys want to learn all that stuff, I can do that later. But this is the basics of it. So you always move your hand. You don't want to just strum when you hear like that is actually based on the down, down, up, up, down strum. So the reason you do that is because while you're strumming, you're also keeping your beat. So if you mess that beat up, it's going to be very, you're going to be very off, especially when you're playing with other people. Now you notice I am moving my hand, but I'm not doing this. Because after a while, especially when you go faster, you're going to want to, I call it the George Bush because he does this a lot. So you're going to George Bush your hand just very, very slightly, not all the way. You're not pronating and supinating all the way, just very slight. Bend your finger, angle your wrist. Okay? So that is how ukulele players and like Spanish guitar players and stuff are able to strum really, really fast throughout entire songs for huge sets, because this is sustainable, this is not. All right? And that's the foundation for all your strumming patterns, all your strumming techniques that you'll learn. This is the foundational movement right here. Now for picking, basic picking, there are technically 3 picking styles that I've identified. You could split them into 4. I'm just going to go with the 4 and let you know that the last 2 are similar. So the first thing is a lot of people pick with their thumb. That's not wrong, not bad. You're going to have to plant your fingers usually, especially if you don't have a strap, and you're going to pluck like this. If you're like Jake Shimabukuro, he grows his thumbnail and then he goes back and forth like this. I don't really have a thumbnail, so I can't really do that, but he does that. And then once you go really fast, he kind of stiffens his finger and kind of moves his hand. So that's his way around not initially being able to strum or pick quickly with his thumb, without a lot of power. The way I pick, through most of my life, is I use my pointer finger. So you point up like this, and I kind of use my nail like a pick. So if you look here, so I'm gonna usually plant my thumb this way and do this using my nail. I like that because it's versatile. You can pick in both directions pretty easily, and I don't have to plant. Sometimes I'll plant with 1 or 2 fingers like this, and if I'm going really quickly. But it's not necessarily always going to be that way. So I'm a lot more free. And if you notice, I'm picking over the sound hole. Usually you pick somewhere around here because usually you want a brighter tone from your picking. If you want it to be softer, you can go this way. Just know that it's a little bit harder to pick in the softer part of the string. You want a little more tension. Now the next way is if you're going to do, you're going to pick with these 2 fingers. So to pick quickly, you go back and forth by picking up with your pointer finger and down with your thumb. And you can do things like pinch stuff. You don't always, do that. You can kind of arpeggiate your chords like. The other way is how they do in fingerstyle on guitar or classical guitar, and you're going to use all of these fingers. Usually, you're going to be picking this way with these 3 fingers and this way with your thumb. So you're basically using the inside of your nail to do so. And all you do is kind of make a cross with your thumb and these fingers like this. This is what I learned in classical guitar class. And just do that. With your thumb, you're more picking on the side because the more you angle it this way, the more you're going to start to do this. When you want to use the stronger muscle of your thumb instead of the small, weaker one. But sometimes you'll do it. Doesn't matter. I do it all the time. So you can do things like so all kinds of that. So that's the 4 main types of picking. I tend to do like a hybridized version of 3 or 4 of those. So I kind of. Right. So have fun with that, guys. To my student, just keep practicing those things. Let me know if you have any questions. Also, I'm offering Zoom lessons online. So if you guys are interested in that, you can hit me up at the email below. That's Kāʻili at ʻUkulelenerd.com. And then we'll try to set up a lesson, all right? I do have specials and stuff, and I'll let you know afterwards. So let me know in the comments, like and subscribe and all that. Let me know what you guys want to learn. It can be songs, it can be techniques. You can have questions for me, and then share this video with everybody you know that needs help, because I like to help people, and share the joy of music that I've had for my entire life. So, yep, this is Kāʻili, the Ukulele Nerd, and I'll catch you guys later. Take care.